Man, there's so many good mangas, man.
I just don't know what to.
Oh my god, peak fiction. Look at this. Look at this peak fiction. Look at this drawing. You know my friend draws this? DH Animations? Shout out to DH Animations. Seriously though, I will be leaving this linked down in the description below along with the pinned comments so you guys can buy a copy for yourself. Now let's get into what I believe to be one of the best videos I've ever made. I hope you guys enjoy. It's been a couple months in the making.
When it comes to pure martial arts, these two are the most known with their hands in the manga scene. In this video, we will be looking at who would win in terms of pure skill, as obviously Goku would one-shot everyone in Baki by the time he's like 15 years old. This also means we won't be including things like instant transmission, ki blast, flying, or anything that doesn't really relate to what their hands are capable of. We are basically ignoring. With that said, me and Isk have prepared to once again cook and spread the gospel, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Son Goku was trained by the likes of Grandpa Gohan, a fighter who's unmatched in several fighting styles. He was also trained by Master Roshi, who apparently knows all martial arts and has mastered every technique. Clearly this isn't the case for things like flying or the tri-beam, however those things don't really correlate to skill, so it wouldn't contradict anything. This Master Roshi, by the way, only defeated a 12-year-old Goku due to being taller than him, and in terms of pure hands, Goku was not the least bit inferior to him. So already by the age of 12, he should be at the pinnacle of martial arts, and we know that Goku would dig deeper to grow even further, being able to counter styles like Tien's that allow him to use extra limbs, to which Goku counters with just waving his hands, and gaslighting bro into thinking he himself has extra limbs, along with outskilling a monster that seemingly no martial art move could really stop. Then there's the good old Goku stance having no openings and him being able to predict attacks before they happen through pure skill. Pressure points as well, by the way, don't work on Goku. And for the record, this is all the stuff that's applicable to Kid Goku before the time skip. By the time of the 23rd Budokai rolls around, bro would be looked at as a legit god and still adapts as a fighter. Goku in the Cell games was keeping up with the likes of Cell in terms of martial arts, who's literally 17, 18 plus everyone else. 18 who during her fight with Vegeta couldn't believe an organic being can fight like him, and this would be a pretty big upscale for skill, as we know they are literally quite aware of everything as I mentioned for Goku's skill, yet bewildered with Vegeta's hands. Then obviously Cell absorbs both androids and again has the knowledge of everyone's martial arts, yet Goku can overwhelm him at points in skill, and Cell has to rely on being straight up stronger. As for the Buu saga, the only two notable things Goku does here is being able to fight without seeing by feeling air currents, and Goku being able to scrap with someone like Buu, who's literally a mindless WWE man-child. All jokes aside, it is important to note Goku can fight someone who's the embodiment of being literally unpredictable. Even in the 21st Budokai, this man Roshi has a dude who's in a level of Kenpo that doesn't even exist. It's clear these guys are just easily reaching the pinnacle and reaching levels beyond that. When getting into Super, a lot of people like to tune out the martial arts aspect of Dragon Ball and believe it's just punchy punch ki blast, but that couldn't be any more wrong. We see Goku being able to predict time being literally skipped, and as we all know, he'd inevitably tap into the power of Ultra Instinct, which literally makes Goku's body move unconsciously, aka auto dodge. Now, let's talk about what all of this actually means in terms of pure skill. So, Master Roshi is basically the peak of martial arts. Kid Goku reaches this tier in the 21st Budokai. He then takes out a monster that can't be taken down by any martial art technique and still manages to improve so significantly that Goku by the end of Super is literally dimensions above his kid self in terms of hands. And I didn't really talk about his adaptability, as I wanted to separate that from his actual martial art techniques themselves. Goku, even as early on as the Yamcha fight, goes from getting bullied by his style to bopping his style. He adapts a counter to Nam, Roshi, and Tien, which in terms of skill they legit couldn't do anything about. Nam lost, Roshi won because of height, and Tien was actually stronger than bro, so that's the only reason he won. He even used his styles against dudes who are proficient in said style, and was implied to be growing as the fight with Jiren went on. Which makes sense, since in the tournament there were times where Goku had to legit adapt to survive, like with Kale and Caulifla. And for reference, you remember when people were gassing up Gaara because he's a prodigy and the same thing never works twice? Goku legit had this in his squeaker era. Anyway, I'm gonna now pass the mic to Isk.
Similarly to Goku, Baki at a young age was shown to be quite the prodigy. Even before the anime, which most people are familiar with, Baki by the end of the OG series becomes the world's strongest martial artist, essentially. However, in Baki's case, the best fighter is literally dimensions above people who are dimensions above people who have mastered all martial arts with ease. For example, we know in the OG series, pre-chapter 100, Motobe literally masters every martial arts style on the planet. He then combines them, and even applies what Yujiro style has, which is an entirely different level of skill from even that. This legit does nothing to Yujiro, however Doppo's skills are able to force him to use Demon Bat, and this is that Doppo has even perfected his own style. He'd then go on to surpass an infinite gap that he's been working towards surpassing his entire life. He literally surpasses his own concept of skill just to go on to lose to a toe. Shibukawa then defeats Doppo and goes on to lose to Jack, who Baki himself defeats afterwards. This is Baki as a child, by the way, who still goes on to get stronger, and we see other characters keep up with Baki as the series progresses. And we even have things like Olive and Pickle happen, where Baki in general boosts his skill to astronomical degrees, giving us basically the same thing that we talked about for Goku, which is having characters being dimensions above what would be the pinnacle of martial art. However, with Baki, it's different since the manga never stops to make this skill gap bigger and bigger. Yujiro is stated to get stronger every day, so this means that there are versions of Yujiro who our cast of characters would completely obliterate. For example, the Yujiro who folded Motobe, who's above the pinnacle of martial arts, would get obliterated by anyone at the Maxim tournament. Even dudes like Katsumi legit break the limits of his skill, much like Doppo, but just much further into the series, and we still have Baki surpassing even this, alongside Pickle using his animalistic styles. He then hones his skills even further in Son of Ogre to fight Yujiro and actually puts up a fight against him. Yujiro being the same dude who literally looks at his opponent and can predict all of his possible moves and all of his weaknesses with just a glance. And obviously if you're caught up, the gap just keeps growing bigger and bigger. Baki can use styles in conjunction with one another, being able to utilize Hanayama's, Katsumi's, Retsu's, and so on. Hanayama has more of a street style type of approach, which Baki overcame after essentially learning how to fight like a literal wild animal. Retsu has Chinese Kempo that goes back over 4,000 years and allows the user to negate pain, throw pressure point strikes, and even throw deadly blows like the 1-inch punch. He utilizes Katsumi's Mach Punch, Shibukawa's Aikido style, which legit throws your own force back at you, and he can also use Shinobi's Vital Cord style, which removes your nerves. Baki, similar to Goku as well, has instinctive movements, prediction through skills, except he does it by literally reading your brain patterns, and also has the ability to use his opponent's moves back against them. Baki constantly just takes what you throw at him and incorporates it into his own style, and makes it even better as he finds his own unique spin on it.
This guy's a cut above the rest. He's not gonna go down easy.
Fight! We.
Goku, I feel like, would initially give Baki a hard time, especially given they are both transcending that realm of pinnacle skill. However, the problem mainly stems from Goku's win cons and just how big the overall skill gap is. With pure hands, there is nothing you can say Goku has done anything even remotely on the same tier as Baki in terms of skill, and literally his best technique is something Baki's acquired at age 15. This isn't even taking into account Son of Ogre or Bakido feats, as I mainly read OG up to the Pickle arc for this video, which essentially makes that transcending peak skill just stack more and more.
Think of it like this: Goku's above that pinnacle of skill by the time the 21st Budokai. Tao fights Goku on another level of skill, and then he gets his Kami training, becoming Himothy. Then Vegeta stated to be above anything 18 could have interpreted including the Z Fighter's level of skill. Cell transcends that, and then Goku scales to Cell somewhat, then manages to seemingly perfect his skills with Ultra Instinct, which is just obviously even more gaps of skill. With Baki, it's just a lot worse since again, Goku doesn't always improve as a martial artist throughout the arcs, whereas Baki is always improving in every fight he participates in. Motobe is already above that pinnacle, and this man loses to the weakest form of Yujiro, who wouldn't even be able to touch the Baki from his first encounter with Yujiro. That Baki enters a new realm of skill by the end of the Maxim tournament, and will go on to find new realms surpassing even that one, like with Oliva, Pickle, Musashi, and even Yujiro. Goku's skill would probably give the likes of Baki and New Grappler a lot of trouble, but I think if we're using Baki at his current age, the amount of skill transcending he's already done is actually bewildering. Any technique that Goku has, Baki can either use in a better way, and can also take what Goku has and use in a better way. It would see the flaws in his moves and just completely dismiss them.
Please don't sum this up to me being biased towards Baki, because I do think Goku does outclass Baki, at least in terms of adaptability, since Baki's never did things like predicting where an opponent is going to skip through time next. Baki also does improve as the fight goes on, but this is a skill that literally the Saiyans are notorious for, so I can't just say bro is getting out adapted. However, I will say anything Goku throws at Baki is honestly just going to be a worse version of something he's experienced before, and unfortunately for Goku, in terms of pure martial arts, Baki is going to chokeslam bro.